got some wonderful performers here with you tonight, and I will start by saying on that end, that's Mr. Tom Long over there. And Tom has been a very important person in the music world, and has been a major player in getting a lot of some of the major names that you know in country music started. And he spent a lot of time in Nashville, but is from this area originally. Julie Gribble is with us, singer-songwriter. Is it 8 albums now? Something like that?
I think it's 8.
8 albums, okay. So Julie has spent time from Atlanta and back here in Atlanta. She's spent time in Los Angeles and Nashville. She's been on a number of national TV shows, and we're certainly pleased that she could join us today. And Roger Hurricane Wilson, who I have known since maybe 1983 or 1984, somewhere around that. Yep. Roger and I used to work at WGST Radio together back in the 1980s, and he has been a force to be reckoned with on the Atlanta music scene. So let's go ahead and get started with Roger Hurricane Wilson, and I hope you enjoy community sessions tonight.
All right. Well, speaking about being in the radio business, appreciate y'all being here today for sure. I've been looking forward to this event for a while. But first thing I'm going to do is a song I wrote about being in the broadcast news business for a long time. I was in radio for many years, but also was in the TV news business. And this is a song called Talking Heads. The first version I did was an electric version, and also have an electric version on a recent CD. Current CD that was recorded in Woodstock, Georgia. And so that was an electric version, but I call this the sitting down version. It's called Talking Heads. There's a mannequin reporting from the White House lawn. There's another one talking out in front of the Pentagon. Then they come to chase a politician up Capitol Hill and stick a microphone in his face to say what he will. Those talking heads, what haven't they said? Another strange face, just talking in place. Then they cut to the blonde covering the political race. She's got the congressman on camera trying to save his face. Is what he's saying really true, or is it a lie? We'll never know, 'cause we're all laughing at his ugly tie. Those talking heads, haven't they said? Another strange face, just talking in place. What haven't they said that they haven't said before? Hasn't Wolf and Sam and Tom and Dan and Peter heard it all before? But now they have to give the analyst an expert a call. Then they take a breath, face the camera, then they talk some more. Those talking heads, haven't they said? Another strange face, just talking in place. Many words are spoken when nothing's said. All that matters to the suits is switch networks ahead. Whatever makes them tune in, go ahead and give them some more. Anything that works, from OJ to the Gulf War. Those talking heads haven't been said. Another strange face, just talking in place. Talking heads, what haven't they said? Another strange face, just talking in place.
That was so nice.
Thank you very much. You're next.
Crap. Just kidding. It's really funny because I was thinking about this morning, is that as musicians, especially if we're doing it for a living, we get really used to people not paying attention to us and pretending we're not there. So when you do have people paying attention, you get a little nervous. Just saying. You just get used to it after a while. You're like, whatever. You just think about the check instead. Now it's fun because you get to actually tell your stories and stuff. So this is called Chance to Start Again. I wrote this with a wonderful guy named Lee Donaldson who passed away during COVID times. And anyway, I love this song. It'll make sense once you hear it. So. I've been here before, driving down this endless street. It ain't like the first time it's ever rained on me, and I ain't that weak one you want, and I'm way stronger than you thought. How do I, oh how do I this time not turning back. You never believe that I'd leave, playing my feet on a greener path. Maybe now you'll see that I ain't that weak one you want. I'm way stronger than you thought. How do I turn around from where I started at? Just get back oh, where I began. To let go of all of this. It's funny how in the end we find a chance to start again. Start again. So I sat down, I cried it out, I prayed aloud and I sang aloud, and I let you go. The choice is gone, and I finally know how to turn around from where I started at. Just get back, oh, where I began. And to let go of all of this. Yeah, it's funny how in the end we find a chance to start again.
Well, my name's Tom Long. I was born in Cartersville, Georgia, back in 1945. It shows you how old I am. Went to North Cobb High School, graduated, went to Lockheed for a few years. Got drafted in '66 and went straight to Vietnam in Chinook helicopters. Had a colonel that he heard me play one night, and so in his personal Huey, he flew me around to different places in Vietnam, and I played some back then and entertained the troops, and came back home and had a band, and ever since then I've been in Nashville for 30 years. Just moved back to Kennesaw, Georgia several years ago, and I'm not used to this kind of thing, but I helped other people get started, and like Brad Paisley and Blake Shelton, who used to work for me, and people like that. But I started out, my dad was a preacher. He pastored several churches, and I had a farm up in Columbia, Tennessee. On one Sunday they were coming up to see me, and I thought about them and their comparison with Jesus Christ, so I decided to write a song about them. It's called His Love, and as a matter of fact, my mother took the picture. I brought one of my CDs. My mother took this picture of me, 11 years old, being baptized in Proctor Creek in Ackworth, Georgia, and that was our pastor baptizing me there. And when I found that picture, I said, I need to do this album, and I wrote this song about my mom and dad. When I was a kid in school, just a lost and crazy fool, my mom and dad held on my hand. They met on my knees, and every night down on their knees they prayed. One day I'd understand that His love, like their love, His love was there for me. Yes, His love, God's love, His love is always there for me. We had years and times are rough, a little money but faith enough to help us hold our heads high. When everything went wrong, we just kept on keeping on, looking for the Savior in the sky. 'Cause His love, like their love, His love was there for me. Yes, His love, God's love, His love is always there for me. Now that I'm grown with children of my own, I know exactly what they meant. When Mom and Dad would pray, asking God to show the way to the light of His Son that He sent down with His love, like their love, His love was there for me. Yes, His love, God's love, His love is always there for me.
It's about a little kid coming along on a little street, on a little block, in a little town, not unlike millions of others. And the way it worked out, my mom actually went to grammar school in this building here many years ago, and then went to Bass High School, but she left the South, and she moved to New Jersey. And she met my dad, and then I was born in New Jersey, all right? And I can still pull that out if I need it, believe me. But anyway, I moved her back to Atlanta back in 1996, and she passed away in 2018. She made it to age 100. So, this is the street that I grew up on. It was called on Howard Avenue. And if you like this song, my website is hurricanewilson.com. You can go on any device, or go on the homepage on any device, and pick up a free MP3 of this song here. It's called On Howard Avenue. remember him leaving, go to work each day. My daddy had to drive 2 hours each way. In the evening I would see him turn the corner in that $52 Dodge. He'd park it on the street. We didn't have a garage. All us kids would ride our bikes, play ball and climb trees. We had a share of scrapes, skinned up knees. Things would get better in the afternoon. Hear the bells of that ice cream man, he'd be coming soon. It was a simple time in my neighborhood. We were by no means rich, but we really had it quite good. Thought we'd live forever if we only knew. But we had a good time down on Howard Avenue. I was good friends with my neighbor, Anna Everly. She would heat her house with coal and kerosene. Steve and Mary came here all the way from Italy. You could smell her Italian cooking up and down the street. Old Mr. Kaiser drove an old 20s Model T. He lived across the street from Old Man Flaherty. Oh, Mr. Ben would yell at me when the ball went in his yard. I never knew their stories, but I'm sure their lives were hard. It was a simple time in my neighborhood. We were by no means rich, but we really had it quite good. Thought we'd live forever if we only knew. But we had a good time down on Howard Avenue. Thought we'd live forever if we only knew. But we had a good time down on Howard Avenue.
So fun being back. I was laughing because my friend over here, Stephanie, and I used to hang out down here a little bit. Back in the day, I won't say when, but it was around that time that you were talking about. If. Those were good times. Hold sad, I gotta move my ring a little bit. It's always like, what do you play? Because you want to like do a little bit of everything. So there's a newer album that put out a couple years ago. John Daly produced it, and I was so excited to have something new. This is called Kid Myself, but the words were actually written, I found them, they were from like 2002 or something. It was like a poem I'd written, and I found it, and I was like, I'm gonna make that a song, so this is what I got out of it. It's raining here, what you doing there? I miss our late night calls when we'd hit our wall. Remembering last time, the same city was cold. Now the heat and rain help soak the memory in. You've forgotten when you'd erase my faults, always saying it was nothing at all. 'Cause I kid myself and everyone else. I made excuses for you. Now I look before I step, and thanks to you I can see right through. And And right before I go to sleep, oh, thanks to you, well, now I think of me. There's been just enough time finally to see the truth. Who I was with you and how I lay and take that joy away. But there's no regrets. I've learned so much now. Once I stopped hating you, I started loving me. And have you forgotten when you'd erase my faults, always saying it was nothing at all? But I kid myself and everyone else. I made excuses for you, but I look before I step, and thanks to you I can see right through. And right before I go to sleep, thanks to you, well, now I think of me. Now I think of me. 'Cause I know I bend a little too much. I know I let a little more in than I should, yeah. But some things are never meant to be anyhow. So I kid myself and everyone else. I made excuses for you. Now I look before I step, and thanks to you I can see right through. And right before I go to sleep, yeah, well, thanks to you, well, now I'll think of me. Now I think of me. Yeah, now I think of me.
You know, over the years, there's been three important things in my life. One was my dog, my old truck that I restored, my dad gave me in 1994, and a good woman. I've had a great wife for 48 years, and I'm going to share a song about her a little bit later. But anyway, those are three things. It's called a good dog, a loving woman, and an old truck, and it goes like this right here. Mic on. Well, if you had a bad day, nothing's going your way, and you're ready to just throw in the towel. My dog's at the gate, just waiting to shake my hand with a welcome home smile. My old truck's fixed and running, to the river I'm coming, got my lady sitting right by my side. My old red's in the back, my tackle box is packed, and my worries are all left behind. A good dog, an old truck, and a loving woman's what every cowboy needs. When life's not fair, they're always there to ease your misery. A good dog, an old truck, and a loving woman's what made those cowboys need. My rod and reel's a little rusty, and I bet it must be years since I've wet that line. But those catfish are still waiting, just to see if I can take one home before supper time. A good dog, an old truck, and a loving woman's what every cowboy needs. When life's not fair, they're always there to ease your misery. A good dog, an old truck, and a loving woman's what every old cowboy needs. If you had a bad day, nothing's going your way, and you're ready to just throw in the towel. A good dog, an old truck, and a loving woman can make your life worthwhile. A good dog in old truck and a loving woman.
Being in the broadcast news business, and also I was on the road for many years. I'm sure most of y'all remember the legendary Andy Rooney from 60 Minutes. Well, anyway, I was always a big fan of his, and so I was on the road one time, a lot of times, but I had a couple of his books that I had taken with me, and I read one, and so I remember I was out somewhere way out west, and I finished one book, and I thought, rather than have it, rolling around in the back of the vehicle on the road, I thought, well, I'm a big fan of Andy Rooney. I'm gonna write him a letter and send this book to him, and ask him if he'll sign it and send it back. And I did that, and I wrote just a self-addressed envelope, put it in there. Anyway, I was out somewhere on the road. My wife called me. She said, "You just got a letter back from Andy Rooney." And so anyway, what he did was he sent it back, and it was signed. The book was signed, Andy Rooney. So I read another book now, and then I was on the road again, and I was out in the middle of the Wyoming prairie somewhere when I finished the second book. And I thought, well, rather than have it be bouncing around the vehicle, I'll just write it again and just tell him. And I was getting ready to go to New York, so I was going to be coming through New York and going to New England on tour. And I used to stop into New York a lot, and I got to be friends. This is another story in itself. I got to be friends with the legendary Les Paul, and I would go play with him on the way through New York here and there. And I'm still in touch with his grandkids. They just kind of welcomed me into the family. But I wrote him this note, and I said, "Andy, this is the second book, and I'd like you to sign it again." And I said, "But I'm going to be coming to New York, and just wanted to invite you over to this, place where Les was playing." He had a Monday night gig forever in New York City. And I just, no, this is never going to happen. But anyway, I get back, and sure enough, here comes a letter from Andy Rooney. And he writes me a personal letter, and he said that he might try to come over there. And he said and listening to the music, he couldn't tell one note from another, is what he said. But he had one musician that he knew from way back. It was a jazz guitar player that was a friend of his. And he gave me his personal phone number, and he says, "Give me a call at CBS News and come up here and have a talk when you get to New York." Who does that? So anyway, it happened. And I got to hang out with him. Went up there for 1 year. One day, 1 year, and the next year I went back and visited him again. We kept in touch on the phone. And so I wrote this song about him. And I released this as a single, and it's also on Spotify and everywhere you can download music. It's called The Ballad of Andy Rooney. Served in the army in World War II, but didn't carry a gun. His only weapon was pen and paper. He wrote about the heroes unsung. He told us of the ravages of war, the tragedy he saw. If it hadn't been for Andy writing it down, it might be forgotten evermore. He could write about anything. He could write about the head of a pin. He could say some things to make you laugh or get right under your skin. He'd talk about the things that bothered him and other things that don't. He mentions some of the things he does and other things that he won't. Thank you, Andy, for getting me through, for telling me in your own words. revealing your thoughts from all that's right to that which is so absurd. We had a few minutes with you each week. I wish we had a few minutes more. Thank you, Andy Rooney, for setting us straight through the truth in your own words. Andy Rooney was an American treasure, not to mention a household name. He would just raise his large eyebrows if I compared him to Mark Twain. Some amazing things came out of his mind. He would say I was out of mind. No matter what he was bound to say, you could set your watch by him on Sunday night. Thank you, Andy, for getting me through by telling me in your own words, revealing your thoughts that all that's right to that which is so absurd. We had a few minutes with you each week. I wish we had a few minutes more. Thank you, Andy Rooney, for setting us straight through the truth in your own words. Thank you, Andy Rooney, for setting us straight through the truth in your own words. Something I should have mentioned about that song, talking about Andy, of course I mentioned my adventure, hanging out with him and everything, but the deal is, you remember from 60 Minutes and doing that piece at the end, but he was a journalist for the U.S. Army, and for the military, and he was writing for the Stars and Stripes during World War II, and he used to fly, he would fly with the Normandy missions over and write about it, and he would talk about the time that they would be having breakfast in the morning, and they would leave, and each fighter pilot was to fly 25 missions. If they made it back, they were done. But he said there would be times when they went to breakfast, and everybody would be there, and then later that night there would be some empty seats, and he talked about that. And but he was a great guy, and I wanted you to hear the song. Thank you.
Thank you.
This was my best friend Jerry's favorite song. He passed away last year, but it was kind of always awkward when I play the song and saying it's his favorite and playing it for him because it's called Glad You're Gone, which obviously is not the truth. But this was his favorite song, so I always lift this up for him. He was quite the character, so. I bet you thought this was my last chance. I was troubled hope that this girl had left inside, and that all my dreams are gonna disappear. Oh, and you left. I'm glad that you're gone. I'm good at being alone. I used to be a sweet little girl till you came along. Never needed anyone, had faith in you and this world. We grew up and realized that nothing, well, it's ever as we planned. I'm glad that you're gone. I'm better at being alone. Don't you think this is all about you? It's about how I choose to live and where I've been. Take another step to the left and you'll see that my happiness never ever will rely on you. So I'm glad you're gone. Yeah, I'm better at being alone. I used to be
nothing will etc. as we planned. Glad that you're gone. Yeah, I'm better at being alone. 'Cause I don't need another burden on my back. Another reason to feel trapped and honey with you. I'm borderline, glad that you're gone. Yeah, I'm better at being alone. I'm glad you're gone. Yeah, I'm glad you're gone. Yeah, I'm better at being alone. I'm glad you're gone.
Sweet song.
Back in 71, I got a degree, right after I got back from Vietnam, I got a degree from Kennesaw State, which was a junior college back then, and then went on down to Georgia State. Got a degree in business management, then I went back and got another degree in commercial music. And during that degree, I got hired as an intern at Master Sound Studios on Spring Street. Bob and Val Richardson over there had owned it, and I worked there for quite a while until I started working with Zell Miller, and I started working with Bill Lowry. Bill was the president of the current Grammy chapter here at National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences, and he hired me to be a song plugger. So during that time, I started the Atlanta Songwriters Association with a couple of my other friends back in '78, and Zell, who became a real good friend, helped me get that started. And during that time with Bill Lowry, I was able to get a #1 song on Ronnie Millsap that Jerry Reed wrote. We re-demo it to 6-8 times, called Miseryless Company. And Porter Wagner had a hit with it in '64, and I took it up to Nashville, and I got Ronnie Millsap to record it, which went #1. That was the first song I ever pitched, and it went #1, which I was pretty excited about that. And then after that, Buddy Killen moved me to Nashville to work for Tree Publishing Company. I worked there and was a song plugger. And in that process, I had managed Sammy Johns, who had a big hit back in '74 called Chevy Van. You might remember that song. And working with him, I co-produced a demo on him at Studio One over here in Doraville, where the Atlanta Rhythm Section used to record. And there's a song called Common Man. And in the studio at that time, he needed a bridge. I wrote the bridge to it. And then when I was in Nashville, we had a single out on Sammy that stopped at number 50. And I was playing the single, and Butter Nose stopped by my office. He was producing a new album on John Conley. Anybody know who John Conley is? Sure. Anyway, I was playing this song in my office there, and he said, "Can I get a copy of that?" So I made him a cassette copy, and he went down and recorded it. And it became a #1 too. It's called Common Man, and I was pretty involved in that song. As a maid poured wine and we prepared to dine, I knew I was feeling out of place. At a table as large as a river bulge, I love you written all on your face. I appreciate your hospitality, but I wish that we could go. Let me drive us to McDonald's and I'll talk to you concerning something you should really know. I'm just a common man, I drive a common van, my dog ain't got a pedigree. If I have my say, gonna stay that way, 'cause highbrow people lose their sanity, and a common man is what I'll be. I'll take a Chevrolet just any day, give your daddy back that Mercedes-Benz. There's some common people that I hang out with, they're my good time buddies, they're my friends. And I'd rather chug a lug a mug of Budweiser beer than sip a crystal glass of wine. So won't you make your mind up to believe in me and leave this high-living world behind. I'm just a common man, I drive a common van, my dog ain't got a pedigree. I have my say, gonna stay that way, 'cause highbrow people lose their sanity, and the common man is what I be. Well, I'm happy just being free, and I'm happy just being me, and I hope that you will see. I'm just a common man, I drive a common van, my dog ain't got a pedigree. If I have my say, gonna stay that way, 'cause how proud people lose their sanity, the common man is what I be. Yes, a common man is all I be.
We're going to take a break right now. I like these guys great. Let's get them on. This is awesome show today. It's just really great. Anyway, we're going to take a break, 15 minutes, and we'll be back with more.